Hello, welcome, beautiful, intuitive families. So good to be here. So today I want to talk a little bit about whether it's possible to change, because I've had a few people reaching out recently talking to me about their kids and saying, I feel like it's too late. Like I've damaged them, or I've already installed these beliefs in them that seem irreversible. Like I don't know what to do. And so I wanted to bring this up because even in my own life, this happens very, very often. And I see behaviors in my children that make me cringe, because I'm like, oh my God, that is so one of my patterns that I have passed on, that they have observed, that they have learnt. And it comes back to this point that I make over and over again, that there is no such thing as perfect parenting. We cannot be perfect. We cannot prevent our children from having their own life experience. And that life experience is going to include challenges. It doesn't matter which way you look at it. Your children will experience difficulty. They will experience challenge, because we live in a world of polarity, because we live in a world where there is a mixture of positive and negative. Everything exists as a whole. And so when we step in as a parent and we feel like our role is to prevent them from having experiences that might be perceived as challenging or difficult, and I used to believe this as a healer. I was like, oh, I just don't want my kids to experience what I have. But the reality is that's what they're here for. That actually nobody on the planet can experience life just as bliss and joy and perfection, because it doesn't exist. It's this like framework that's been set up to aspire to be this version, which is impossible. So the first thing I want to say about this is, when you're looking at your kids like, I've failed them, I've messed up, I've installed these beliefs in them and these behaviors, I want you to be kind to yourself and to them and realize that that's life. That is life, full stop. It's not good, it's not bad, it's not wrong. It's just living. Okay. And so when your children, this has just happened to me. So it's funny that people have been asking me about this. And then I've just had this experience where I've watched my son repeat behaviors that I do, that are not behaviors I particularly, relish in myself. Being controlling. He's the eldest of the three children. He wants to control the girls. He wants to tell them what to do all the time. He wants to make sure that they're doing the right thing and they're not hurt. And he's doing it from a place of love. But it comes across as being really controlling and like over the top. And I'm like, mate, I'm the parent. You can just relax. Like, it's not your job. And every time I say that to him, he gets really upset and he gets really, self-blames and has this critical part that's like, I'm a bad kid. I shouldn't have done that. You've told me 100 times not to do it. And why can I not stop myself from controlling them? And I'm like, oh my God, this is my fault. Like, as a mum, this is my fault. Like, he has picked up on my behaviors, my patterns of control, the things I've been working on for a long time. And I'm watching it. It's cringeworthy. It doesn't feel good. However, when you can step back as the observer and realize that it's never too late, like those thoughts run through my head, like, oh my God, like it's too late. I've ruined him. He's 11. Like, yes, there's a part of me that feels that sense of guilt, but there's also the part of me that's able to recognize that nothing is ever a failure. It's just learning. It's just an experience. He chose me as a mum, or us as a family, to have these sisters, to have my husband. Like, this is the unit. This is what he chose. So when we step out and we come to this as a starseed, as a higher vibrational being, we realize that our children chose the patterns. They chose the challenges. They decided to come into your vibrational space because they wanted to experience what you have to offer. And that's the whole. That's the beauty and the amazing gifts you have to share. And it's your shadows. It's your conditioning, the generational trauma, the stuff that you bring to that family. And It's all divine. It's all perfect. And so when I'm in that space of like, oh my God, this is all my fault, my child is doing these behaviors that I have portrayed, I like step back and realize it's okay that that's how it is. It's okay that he's experiencing this and I'm experiencing this. He is the biggest reflector to me of my own deep shadow work, the stuff that I dive into on a daily basis. And that is the truth of it, is when we are sitting in a place going, it's too late, I'm never going to be able to help them, it's all over. I want you to stop and realize that even you as the adult, as the parent, is actually choosing to change. You know, as a nearly 40-year-old, the way that my life has played out is not the way I was parented. You know, no disrespect to my parents. They did the best they could with what they knew. But I wasn't brought up in a beautiful, mindful family where we all learned about energy and vibration. But I'm still here right now teaching this shit because it's my life, because I've chosen to change. So when I look at my 11-year-old and I think, oh my God, he's ruined because of me, what bullshit story is that? You know, that's not true. As he gets older, he's going to make his own choices. He's going to read his own books. He's going to go and do his own research, and he's going to choose how he lives his life. And so I'm really here to remind you, it's never too late. If you're here as a parent in your 30s, 40s, 50s, whatever, you're here because you're choosing to change. So when you think about your kids and think it's too late for them, it's never going to be too late. Not if you as a parent can choose to change. So I can look at myself and know that there is hope. There is hope at the end of the rainbow, that, you know, even with the parenting and the patterns that I am offering my children, even if they're not desirable, that it doesn't mean they're going to repeat it, and it doesn't mean that they're failing or that life is over because they are doing these behaviors. What it means is they're having an experience, and of course that experience is through my filter as a parent. They're watching me and observing me and my husband, not just me, but us as a pair, whoever's in your family unit. And this is all okay, because if it's not the story, so right now for me, one of my big stories is control, and I'm watching my son repeat the story. But if it wasn't control, it would be something else. It would be self-worth. It might be a weight issue. You know, it could be anything. Might be about, you know, the way he interacts with his siblings. It might be jealousy that's a story. It doesn't matter. You cannot have a family unit without shadow. So stop making it wrong that your kids, that yourself have these experiences. You are perfect as you are. You are not broken. Your children are not broken. When you start to see your life as energy, vibration, and resonance, it is just a denser vibrational experience. And it's okay. And we chose to have this because part of being a human is having the experience of polarity, is having the experience of density, of emotion, of feelings. So I'm holding you in this and hoping that this brings you some some hope and a fresh perspective on this idea that it's too late for your kids, that they didn't learn mindfulness from day dot. Neither did mine. I was not parenting my son from this place where I am now. He's 11 when he was born. It has taken me many, many years to get to this point of holding a much bigger awareness around how I show up as a parent, how I be, how I create an intuitive lifestyle. And that is the truth. That is what I have done, the mistakes that I've made in his life, if you want to see it that way. What I see is a gift in everything. In the feedback that right now we're dealing with a pattern of behavior that I'm seeing, and I'm really supporting him in shifting and changing and seeing from a different perspective. And in doing that, I'm having to work on my own shadow around control, around how this has portrayed to him. So it's work for me, it's work for him. It's part of intuitive family living. So I'm bringing this to you as a gift, as something for you to see your family and the way you interact with your children in a different way. And just know in your heart that it is never too late to change. Mwah.